Has anybody here read the book Mind Over Medicine by Lisa Rankin? It's a great book. She was a integrative OBGYN who got sick of managed care. So she got into functional medicine, which is like where we use a lot of different labs to diagnose functional things that may not show up or are not easily recognized by more conventional physicians. And she made this wonderful case that she would work with these people who like juiced every day, worked out, they did yoga, they went to therapy, they went to their meditation group, they came to the Network Wellness Center, Charlotte. Like they did everything, but they weren't healthy because they had all this unfinished business in their lives. They hated their jobs, they weren't happy with their partners, they had all this abuse from their past that hadn't been dealt with. And these were the major peripheral drivers of the stress they felt, which was affecting their physiology more so than the person who perhaps ate less well but was really happy in community. Has anybody here heard of the study of the Italians in the coal mining town? Was it Philadelphia? I think so. There was a big group of Italians in a coal mining town, and I think it was in Philadelphia. Near them was a much wealthier community. It doesn't matter, but it happened to be a predominantly more white Anglo-Saxon Protestant community, much more professional, much more educated and upwardly mobile. And then you have this large community of Italian migrants who are basically coal miners, just working class folks. And what the study showed was that the difference in the health was astounding. Because your conventional mind would say that this group was actually so much healthier, meaning the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant group who had, the luxuries of good education and all the nice things and the nice houses and the nicer cars. And here these guys smoked more, they drank more, and they basically ate the opposite of a paleo diet. I say paleo because I was walking down the street in my neighborhood the other day, and I saw a gentleman, and we often talk, and I said, "Hey, you look really good. You lost a lot of weight. What's going on?" And he says, "I'm on a paleo diet." And I said, I don't know what that is. Paleo. I said, "Do you mean paleo, as in Paleolithic?" He said, "No, man, it's paleo." He's a really smart guy, too. He's an engineer, and he's... So I just said, "You know what? You're right. It's paleo." So these guys are the farthest thing from paleo diet. I mean, this is like pasta and sausage and hanging out long hours of the night and like copious amounts of red wine, cigarettes. And they had this crazy longevity and a ridiculously low amount of cardiovascular disease. Ridiculously low amount of cardiovascular disease. And the incidence of heart attacks and cardiovascular disease in the other population was significantly and statistically higher. I find this fascinating. So what was the difference? They all ate together. They all spent time together. How do we know this? Because when the mining town broke down and a lot of people started to move and the community began to break down and they started to become separate, the mortality and morbidity rates went higher now than this group. Isn't that fascinating? So it was that sense of, what Amanda said earlier, that sense of community, that sense of connection. Because that sense of community and that connection, that connects us to possibility. That connects us to the wave. That connects us to something that's bigger than ourselves. And it's really important in health. And if I don't talk about it, I would be doing you a disservice. Because if I just gave you a sales pitch for my weirdo chiropractic services, it would be disingenuous. Because it's about how we live and how we feel and what is that unfinished business that needs to be looked at. What is that unfinished business that needs to be dealt with? Not to drop a morbid question on you, but what if tomorrow was going to be the last day you had? What would you want to do? What would you want to clean up? If it was your time to go and you got the notice in the mail, Archangel Gabriel comes down and says, "Hey, look, your gig's up in 2 weeks. It's going to be a good journey, but you got to clean your stuff up." What would you clean up? If we live like that, because it's that important, because you're that important, because sleeping well is that important, because feeling good is that important, because you all have gifts to bring that become eclipsed when we are in stress. What would you do? You'd get up and leave.
I would. You broke it now.
Oh no, I still have 10 minutes.
Oh, is it? Okay, I'll stay for 10 minutes. No, I can't.
Bye, Amanda. And so as this is happening, now this drawing, which looks like an LSD trip gone very bad, now this person is operating, they're getting their fuel from the hormones and the emotions of stress. That is not where your good stuff comes from. That is breakdown. Now, there's another option where here's Teresa, since you brought up the energy piece, and all this energy is coming in, and that unfinished business is now finished or finishing. And all you need to do is begin. That's it. Just a little bit of progress is all you need. This is not about perfection. All people need to feel really, really happy is to feel like they're growing. Katie Warren, she got up and left. 2, that they're contributing to something greater than themselves. And 3, that they are making progress. You work with people, helping them do lots of different things with their health. You've worked with people who want to lose weight, correct?
Yes.
If they just begin to know that they're making progress, does that not change the whole game?
It totally motivates.
Totally motivates. So all you need to do is begin the process. Remember, tennis ball, Utah. All you need to do is change the perspective of things, and new energy begins to come into you that heretofore you thought was unavailable. That's it. And then to keep diligently and persistently and patiently and playfully moving forward. You can change anything. Anything is possible. So now this person is not relying on the hormones of stress. Rather, they are being driven by the hormones of well-being. Does anybody know what those are? Serotonin, yes, good. Dopamine, yes. That's the, melatonin, oxytocin. Has anybody here ever been in love or had a child? Yeah, when we're in love, or you've been in a group community and you feel so loved and so seen, or you feel forgiven, or you forgive somebody, your brain releases all this oxytocin. There are other chemicals we know of called anandamide. You're the yogi. What does ananda mean? That's right. There's actually a neurochemical in our brain that has been called anandamide, which produces feelings of euphoria and bliss. It's encoded inside of you. But it can't happen when we're oriented in the past and we're operating on the hormones of stress, with the beliefs, perceptions, thoughts, emotions, and perceptions based on our past conditioning. And in this state, as all this stuff starts to happen, this is deep, but stay with me. Stay with me, stay with me. We go from becoming these separate, limited selves, where we're a somebody, because I'm Matt, and I'm a chiropractor, or I'm an acupuncturist, or I'm an attorney, or I'm a mom, or I'm a dad, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm a this. And all of a sudden, all those roles and personas that we began to wear as masks, they're not quite as important anymore. So we go from being a somebody to becoming a nobody. We go from being somewhere, I'm from Charlotte, I'm voting for Clinton, I'm voting for Trump, I'm voting for, what's the other, Jill Stein, whoever she is, to nowhere. We go from trying to always be something to no thing, and when we're no thing, we can transition into being everywhere, everybody, everything. And that may sound way too cosmic. But the truth is that what derives from this process of reclaiming your power and your energy back is deep and abiding happiness. This is the skillful means that the Buddha talked of. Anybody here Catholic? Raised Catholic? Rosary? Luminous Mysteries? Thursday? Third Mystery? The proclamation. The kingdom of heaven is right here. So there's a sense of well-being that in this moment we are enough. There was a great Zen master from Japan, Dogen, who said enlightenment is living without anxiety about the 10,000 things. Said in a modern way, real enlightenment has nothing to do with some cosmic fake stuff that somebody will sell you that happens on an expensive retreat or in a cave in India. It's abiding in this presence inside of you that's never been born and never dies. It's present in every being. And in that state, we're without anxiety about all of life's unresolved problems. They still exist, but we don't have that same anxiety about it. We're no longer driven by all those hormones of stress and all that preoccupation with past and focus on self. We go from being self to no self. Atman, that's the Sanskrit word, Atman, no self. I don't mean to offend anybody's religious sensibilities, but Jesus' last name wasn't Christ. He was the incarnation of the Christ consciousness, which is eternal, which is vast, which is unbounded. Unbound, pure unbound energy. And that very unbound energy, from a quantum physics perspective, that unbound, pure potential, pure possibility is that 99.9% of space that when we're not locked into the perspectives of past becomes available to us. And when we can learn to live in that space, then the impossible becomes possible. And we're no longer past-oriented. We're totally in the present, really excited about a future, having fallen in love with life again, no matter what our circumstances were. Because what did I say at the beginning? The pain is never in the... Thank you. Do you think in that space we sleep better? Do you think in that space we're looser? The body, when we are in a less stressed state, has so many more capacities to heal itself. So many more capacities to heal itself. And there are a lot of roads to get there. Some are better than others, some are faster than others, some are direct, but there are many ways to get there.